Hey everybody, back at the Advanced Selling Podcast, the longest running sales training podcast history. I'm Bill Caskey.
I'm Brian Neal over here.
And we are coming to you today knowing full well that our sound quality is not optimal.
This is the string can version of the Advanced Selling Podcast, isn't it?
Yeah. So
well,
if you can wade through
place,
it,
Bill, right?
we will too. And I think we got some good content if you can look past some of the microphone issues. So
we do. And you're out visiting your new granddaughter, yeah?
Yeah, my new granddaughter. I'm in Denver, and Kara just had Palmer about 4 weeks ago, and it's the first time I've met her. She handed her to me when I walked in the door, and because I have not held a newborn for 29 years, I was a little
yes, a little shaky.
I haven't had nearly enough reps in the last 29 years, so I became agitated. I passed that agitation on to her. And she was asking for her mom, even though she doesn't speak. So
little balls of energy, aren't they? They just sense it, don't they? Okay, all done here. You can have her back now.
Exactly.
All done.
Exactly.
She's like, me too.
So
she's going to grab your heart, not let it go.
Yeah.
She grows up, guaranteed.
That's
awesome. That's so fun. Hey, I wanted to mention I got a LinkedIn message referencing a conversation you and I had in episode 713. I love when our listeners highlight the episode. I think that's so fantastic. This is from Jeff Mazza. He gave me permission to use his name. So Jeff says, still a longtime listener, regarding the trombone solo discussion in episode 713. He's talking about this trombone. We were talking about, different musical. We like music, Bill and I do. Here's what he said. I said, Jeff did a little dig here. He says in his email to us, I would expect Bill, in parentheses, at his age, would have thought of Chicago as the best trombone solo. Jimmy Pankow is a Rock and Roll Hall of Fame trombone player. 25 to 6 to 4 is the great trombone solo, which he said that. I just thought at his age would have known.
He's exactly right. I missed that.
Isn't it? Yes, that's it, right? Jimmy Pankow, right? That's a good one. And I'm just beneath enough because I'm like, well, wait a second. I know Chicago. I grew up with that stuff, but not deep enough. That's a great little point of trivia that Jeff shared with us. I thought it was really great. Jeff Pankow, Rock and Roll Hall of Fame trombone player.
Well, you know what I'm going to be doing after we're done?
Exactly.
We'll go back
as soon as we hang up. Exactly. So thanks, Jeff, for he's been a long time listener. Really, really
awesome.
Appreciate
thanks,
that.
Jeff. I'm not offended. I'm not offended by that at all.
No. That was. I just thought that was funny. I thought
at his age,
I'm like little dig at his age. I'm like, what is that supposed to mean? So, but I understand.
I know.
Jeff didn't mean anything by it at all. Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
So, topic
today. Yeah.
Yep. I'll tee it up here. And the topic is basically 2 words, kind of 3, but the topic today is LinkedIn fatigue. LinkedIn fatigue. Is any of you listeners suffering from LinkedIn fatigue? And I'm just going to share my side of it, and then maybe we could kick it around, give your perspective here. So LinkedIn to me is one of the greatest sales connecting tools we have for learning, for sharing, for creating warm introductions for ourselves and others. I absolutely love it. We talk about all the time, personal branding. And I went through a severe drought at the end of last year and beginning of this year, where I was just so tired of the noise on LinkedIn. It's just like, who can make the most noise? Remember the Oompa Loompa and the Grinch? All the noise. Remember that statement? That's what I felt like. And I just I'm done. I just can't do it. And I teach it, and I'm a proponent. So it just got me thinking, are you or any of our listeners suffering from LinkedIn fatigue? And if we are, knowing they have this great tool, it's almost like having a treadmill or a Peloton in your basement and you're out of shape. It's right there. All you have to do is get on it, and you don't get on it for 6 months, a year. You don't get on the Peloton, and then you complain about being out of shape. I felt like that a little bit with LinkedIn. So that's the topic. I don't have an answer, just a problem. Help me. Therapy time.
Well, I totally agree with you. We did a little bit of prenups here, but I agree. And a lot of my clients who I am always saying more, I've got to be better at suggesting what exactly does that mean, because it doesn't mean 3 times a day. I know you've got help in your office, as do I, to help us do that. A lot of people that are listening, they don't have a virtual assistant to do that. So they're doing it themselves. And so maybe we explore, how do you do it yourself, not get fatigued about it, but still do it so that meaningful things happen as a result, like the phone rings or there's a DM.
Yeah. 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 So you just said, that's a great word, actually. So the word meaningful is meaningful to me in this discussion. So I think what has occurred, and again, we're proponents. We love Gary Vee. We love other social media, marketing people that say, content is king. They've been saying that for 20 years, a little tired. And then it's the quantity. Gary talks about his $1.98 version. Give your 2 cents 90 times a day, or $1.80 version. That's a lot of volume of stuff to communicate. And I get it's hard work and it's good, but is it meaningful? That's a good way to think about it. Yeah. First, is the work that I'm doing, is what I'm putting out in the world meaningful to the world and to me? Does it mean something to me?
Yeah, that's right. That's right. And I think we've always stressed here that posting and creating video or creating articles or whatever also benefits you, because it helps you get clearer on what are the circumstances that my customers are struggling with, and how do I connect their circumstances to my solution. And so I think creating content has a byproduct of just making us better communicators. So I don't think we can forget about that. Even if we do post a video and no one shows up, no one wires money, I'll tell you a quick story here, talk about meaningful content. I've got a client in the freight business, and it's kind of a commodity. Well, it is a commodity if you don't deal with it correctly. And she had never posted on LinkedIn before. And I said, what's the biggest problem right now facing shippers? And she said, well, containers. She does a lot of work in containers. She said, the price of shipping a container has really skyrocketed over the last 90 days. And I know why. And no one's talking about it. Okay, why is that? She says, because the Panama Canal is so drought-ridden, it's so dry that certain ships can't pass through. And so they're having to reroute, which makes everything more expensive. And I said, well, why don't you shoot a video on that? So she did. She shot it. She sent it to me for critique. It was not where it needed to be. She did it a couple of other reps, and she posted it. And she's had 4,000 views on it. She's booked two calls from it. And so that's an example of, she just did that once, which I'm not recommending you do things once, but it was meaningful to her audience. And now she's learned some more about it. She's going to post another video later this week. It's as it's a developing story. There's a new wrinkle to it. And so that's something that I think is useful, because you're actually delivering useful content and it's not just noise.
Yes. Gosh, what a great story. I didn't know that. And I'm not in the shipping business. I don't ship anything. It was interesting to me as soon as you said, and I loved how you framed it up. Like, she knew why and why. Yeah. Let me tell you why. This little secret that nobody knows or is talking about.
That's right.
I'm like leaning in, and they're like, it's because it's too dry in the Panama Canal. I'm like, whoa. The other thing that's interesting is it gave me this picture in my mind of all these ships. Yeah. And I grew up on the Ohio River. So I know when the river's low, what it looks like, and they dredge and the barges. It's so funny how that's becomes meaningful. And it just hit me. I don't even do what she does.
Yeah.
It's really great. Yeah. What a great story.
That's an example. And maybe that is a tip for listeners, is I don't think it does take quantity, but it also takes meaningful, content value. Yeah. That if somebody watches it, they're a little bit more aware than they were before they watched it.
Right. Very good.
And to me, that's the essence.
Yes. Yes. And it was something that meant something to her, that she felt like was special knowledge she had to share. It's really great.
So now I just talked to her a few minutes ago. Now she's all over it. Now she wants to do more. She's ready. But sometimes, so how does one, let's get to the topic here. We've given an example, but how does one either change their perspective of what LinkedIn is so that they don't experience fatigue, or change their actions, like the pressure to create something every day? How does one do that? I think that might be a good discussion.
Great. Yeah, I would agree. I'm going to give an old, I used to give this advice out in this way. Just as an example, I'm not like a fitness guru guy or personal trainer or anything, but I used to talk about the first step. Sometimes I'll say the first domino of anything. So when it comes to physical fitness, people are like, what do you do? People are like, well, go sign up at a gym. Buy a Peloton. I'm like, I think there's something even before that. I'm sure there's something before what I'm going to say, but I like to say, just freaking put on your shoes, your workout shoes, your running shoes. Just put your shoes on, sit on the couch. You don't have to even just lean forward, put your shoes on, tie them, and just sit there. And eventually you'll probably stand up. And then if you stand up, you'll probably go outside, get in your car and go to the gym, or you'll go for a walk. And now you're on your way. But that's that put on your shoes. So I'm staring at, my exercise equipment, or I'm staring at LinkedIn. I'm like, I need to do something here. And so just do the smallest, easiest thing. Because I think sometimes, like you said, Bill, and obviously you and I are proponents of video and production and things like that in a big way. And for some people, that's just so overwhelming. What's the easiest, smallest thing they could do? They just take an article and share it with somebody, or they just share anything that they read. Just hit share, or just like something. Just start.
Share something that's already, that's already on your website or your company's website.
Right. Yeah.
Chances are people have gone to great lengths and trouble to post articles that are helpful on your website. So if it stays on the website, nobody ever sees it. So here's a chance for you to promote that. Easy, takes a few minutes, but still it's interesting and it's valuable to the listener, to your audience.
100%.
Yeah, I like that. I was listening to, do you know who Dr. Kelly Starrett is? He's a movement specialist, and he works with pro teams and athletes. And he just wrote a book called, what's it called? Meant to Move. And the whole idea is we are not meant to sit like this. We're not meant to stand. We're meant to move. And he has come up with some statistics, and he was interviewed, and I heard what the stats were, but I can't remember. But the point is that he said, if you're, like you said, if your shoes are more than 10 steps away from your bed, the adherence to the process goes way down.
Wow.
And it's like you have to have things right in front of you. And if you take that first step, and maybe in LinkedIn, the first step is brainstorm 5 ideas, brainstorm 5 problems that your customer base has right now in this area that you help them in, and just do that. Don't even think about video or production or camera setup or construction of show. Think about that. Do that. And that may send you off on a little bit of momentum.
Yes. Just starting. You do it on your phone. Open a note in your phone. Just write it down. That's really good.
I mean, I just did that this morning. I was out walking around aimlessly, and I knew we were, I posted to my notes, my ASP notes, 3 topics. And we probably won't do all 3, but it's that first step. Okay, that crossed my mind. This would be good to talk to Brian about. And if you have that, then you and I aren't staring at each other saying, well, what did we talk about today? Because we always come with ideas.
Yeah. Got that contact buzz out there in Denver, right? Get your brain going.
Creative as hell out here. Yeah.
Sort of everywhere. Anyway, my last bit I'll say on this one, and I think it goes hand in hand with the 2 things that we just mentioned too, is everyone on LinkedIn, whether you have LinkedIn fatigue or not, you do have what I would call your favorite type of activity on LinkedIn. So some people like to scroll, some people like to do a video, some people like to engage, some people like to DM people. I would also start, if you have LinkedIn fatigue, back where it's something you like to do. I love to share things that other people put up. It's like, it's easy, makes me feel like I'm giving, and I'm amplifying someone else's stuff. So that's a good starting point for me. But that's just me. But start at a place where you enjoy what of all the LinkedIn stuff you can do. What do you enjoy the most, and do that? Starters.
Yeah, because you'll do it. You'll keep consistent with it if it's something you do. Like I don't enjoy DMing people, because I know for a fact that people get so many of those, and unless it's crafted perfectly, and I know the person, like cold DMing, does it work? Yeah, I guess it would, but I don't enjoy that. I do enjoy video. I do enjoy content. I enjoy sharing things. Yeah. So maybe that's one way to get past the fatigue, is just reorient yourself to the process of LinkedIn posting, and just become clear and take it back to the basics and start to build momentum that way.
I love it.
Because it does work.
LinkedIn fatigue is cured. Oh, it totally does. Absolutely.
I mean, it does work. It's not about, now, if you post once a year, probably not going to work. But if you're a consistent contributor and think about it as contribution to your audience, it will work. People will reach out, or you reach out to them and they'll say, "Hey, Brian, I saw that video you did. That was awesome.
Totally.
I sent it all my sales team." So
there is no doubt that it works over time if you and when you do it, without question.
Yeah.
And this has been good. Thanks. Kind of therapeutic for me too.
Good. Thank you for the topic, man.
Rolling through. I love it, man.
All right.
All right.
Speaking of LinkedIn, if you're not already a member of our LinkedIn group, go to advancedsellingpodcast.com/LinkedIn. You can join 11,000 of your closest friends and our listeners there at LinkedIn in the group. And that might be a good question for the group is how do you deal with LinkedIn fatigue? And
Yes.
I bet we'll find a lot of people who either haven't started on LinkedIn because of it or they get burned out.
100%. Yeah. Guaranteed there are people. This is going to be like a liberating episode.
Yeah.
They're like, those guys get LinkedIn fatigue. Those two do? Like, we sure do.
And I think it's hard to bring up because we are telling people to do it. And so we feel, I'm not saying you do, but I feel a little bit like a rummy in preacher's clothing.
Oh, sure.
If you say you need to do it, you need to do it. And you look at Bill Caskey's and like, well, you haven't posted for 9 months.
Right, exactly. That's where I was. Like, it's like a 6 months. I little here and there, but nothing major. And I'm like, I got to come clean on this because that's how I was feeling. Yeah. And I think that's good for people to be able to understand and hear vulnerability too. That even people like us to do this for a living, and it's not perfect,
Yeah. And I think fatigue and burnout, whether it's cold calling or whether it's LinkedIn, or fatigue and burnout is your body and mind telling you something, and we need to listen to it. And what it's telling you there is you're not thinking about it in the right way. It's okay. Well, let's rethink the thinking.
Yes. Think about the thinking. Be like,
good job.
Okay, go join the Insider program, by the way. It's right there on the little, if you're watching on YouTube, advancedsellingpodcast.com/insider. Great value for live coaching from my friend Bill.
Absolutely.
Okay, see you next time. Bye.